Black man charged for defending himself against YT attacker turns fatal.
A black male defends himself, but he is, well, charged. Put up the picture for him, man. I got a story to tell you. Trevor Moses. Trevor is 25 years of age. Trevor was arrested on the 6th of February and charged with second-degree battery after witnesses identified him in the January 26th surveillance video altercation between him and a 43-year-old Christopher J. Temple. Mr. Temple later died from his injuries. The video of the encounter shows Mr. Temple sneaking up on the young Mr. Trevor Moses. What you see here in the video, we have the still of the shot. This is the moment Mr. Temple, this is Christopher Temple, is seen sneaking up behind the 26-year-old Mr. Moses and throwing the first punch. Okay? He threw the first punch. There is absolutely no ambiguity about what happened. None. All the witnesses saw it. Surveillance caught it. The man threw the first punch. Snuck him. Is what happened. Put it up. Now, a video screenshot shows Christopher Temple on the left and Trevor Moses before the encounter. Okay? You clearly see it. Despite being snuck, despite being hit, punched, off guard, somehow Moses fought back and gained the upper hand, punching the taller man in the face, which ended up knocking him out cold, causing him to fall, strike his head on the concrete. This is what the witnesses told the police. Police said last week that surveillance footage from the Real-Time Crime Center supported witness accounts of the incident. That's according to station KTBS. However, video of the brawl taken from news reports and circulating widely on social media only reveals the moment when Temple delivered a crushing blow to the side of Moses' head, sparking a brutal fistfight in front of at least 24 witnesses. The bare-knuckle brawl resulted in the injury that ultimately caused Mr. Temple's death. However, the video does not show this exact moment, and it's not clear if this footage even exists. Atlanta Black Star was not able to pinpoint the purported tape of the second half of the altercation. Shreveport Police Chief Wayne Smith and Corporal Chris Bordelon both viewed the entire video and afterwards said Temple may have instigated his own fate, according to KSLA News 12. Quote, "We're very aware of what the public is saying. Obviously, this is a complicated matter," the corporal said. The corporal confirmed the segment of the footage that showed Temple throwing the first punch and striking Moses, leading many online observers to say that Moses was justified to retaliate with a haymaker of his own. However, Moses was arrested a few days after the fight on charges of second-degree battery and released on bail. At that point, Temple was still alive. He underwent surgery before being transferred to the Carpenter's House Hospice, where he unfortunately died on the 15th of February. Authorities are now unofficially calling Temple's death a homicide, as detectives are currently working with the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office to assess whether murder charges will be filed against Moses. Now, let's go back. There is no issue. This is a homicide, okay? Homicide doesn't mean murder. Homicide simply means, was the death likely caused because of another human being? Well, yes. That's clear. The fight You can call it mutual combat if you choose, but I would posit that the young Mr. Moses, Trevor Moses, was actually defending himself. Regardless, if it's mutual combat or self-defense, that means the individual who's involved, the other person who's involved, is doing so voluntarily. Voluntarily. Either they are engaging in mutual combat or they voluntarily decided to hit someone and the other person had to respond to self-defense. It is an unfortunate tragedy that the individual who landed the first punch died. I'm sure he has family who loves him. He may have children or young people that he mentors. I don't know. But I do know this. In the American legal justice system, you don't get to throw a punch and then somebody gets the upper hand on you and all of a sudden you are no longer the criminal. No, you started it. You're the one who instigated the entire brawl. Your physical violence brought this upon yourself. So now there's confusion. Now the corporal is saying, I know this is a complex matter. No, it is not. It is not complex because I guarantee you, if Mr. Moses would have snuck, would have hit, punched the other man in this unprovoked attack, there would be no confusion. There would be no argument. There would be no charges. It would be open and shut. But because a black male, a young black male at that, defended himself from an attacker, was able to somehow get the upper hand, because he could have easily been the person dead right now. He could have easily taken that same fall that the person who attacked him took. We're going to stay on top of this. It seems as if, due to the public sentiment that's involved, the police or the local prosecutor is weighing the political winds. Let's make sure they weigh the political winds justly, because there is absolutely no charge that should have been affixed to this young man whatsoever. All right, dear brother, what are your thoughts?
Well, to quote the judge from the earlier segment, this is another instance of walking while black.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this young man was walking along and this other guy comes up on him and does what he does. And to your point, if you defend yourself and this tragedy happens, it's tragic because the other gentleman who instigated the fight also had a life. And it's tragic that he started by hitting this other gentleman. And it's tragic now for Moses. This young gentleman's got what he's got to go through. And I'm sure he's also traumatized. Obviously, if you get in a fight, I don't think your instinct or your desire is to kill the other human being. It was a situation where he knocked him out, he hits his head, and here we are. So it's unfortunate across the board. But to your point, I hope that the prosecutors realize that this was self-defense. I mean, you get a situation like George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, where Trayvon Martin was minding his own business and George Zimmerman goes and shoots him and gets off on it.
Yeah.
Well, this gentleman was actually defending himself. And to your point about the color of his skin, as a Middle Eastern American, I always use that example when I say if January 6th had been perpetrated by a bunch of Muslims that are Middle Eastern American, there would have been no pardons. They would have been taken away day one. And yet, because it happened by the people that it happened, who were quote unquote patriots, which means white Americans,
yep,
they come out and they get pardoned. So here we are in this situation where, as you pointed out very well, if the roles were reversed, there wouldn't be any, doubt of what the police would be doing. And in this
That's
case,
right.
I hope the police wisen up and they realize that Moses was defending himself.
That's right. That's right. Politics and political pressure be damned. We know good and damn well this man should never have a charge affixed to him for defending himself. We'll bring you updates as they come. We're going to stay on top of it.